Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles for the PlayStation Portable. This is a game I actually did a Let's Play of several years ago, but I just did a standard run. I don't think I really had a particular route in mind. I think I might have showed how to get Maria, but that's about it. So what we're going to do here on this playthrough, this updated playthrough, is show you how to get the 3 Maidens. And by getting the 3 Maidens on a single run, you unlock the true final boss. Dracula will have a 3rd form, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. And I went ahead and just skipped the introduction there because the last time I let an introduction play out on a Konami game, I got a copyright claim from Konami, and while I was able to get the claim removed from my account, it was just a pain in the ass, and I just don't really feel like dealing with it. So we're going to go ahead and just sit at this menu for a little bit. But yeah, what we're going to do is actually enter a brand new name, and yeah, we're just going to start a brand new game. I will be skipping through all the cutscenes, so if you're looking for a playthrough that has, you know, all the intermissions and stuff like that, we are going to skip it. So, yeah, you can go check out a dedicated long play or something like that for that. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Should be a fun playthrough. I predict this will probably take us about an hour to go through. This isn't a very difficult game. Most of the bosses aren't very difficult, but I still find myself being somewhat inconsistent with, you know, fighting some of the bosses in the game and dealing with some of the situations in the game, but we'll talk about them as we go through them. So yeah, as usual, guys, before we start, I'd like to give a big shout out to all my current Patreon backers. So thank you guys for continuing to support my channel and show through places like Patreon. Likewise with the recent live stream super chatters and channel members, it means a lot to me. So thanks a lot, guys, for your continued support. So with that, let's go ahead and hit circle here. So this is you know, if you've never played this before, it's a remake of Dracula X for the PC Engine Duo. Never got a release in North America up until, you know, these last few years or so, where it got a re-release on the PS4, and previously it was re-released on the Nintendo Wii. And then it was also re-released on this. The original Rondo of Blood is actually available in the Dracula X Chronicles as an unlockable. You do have to unlock it, though. I will not be showing how to unlock that, since our focus here is the true final boss and the 3 Maidens. But, you know, you can check some information elsewhere online if you want to see how to unlock that. But yeah, it's fairly faithful to the original Rondo. You can still pick up money, and you can still, by getting money, you can still purchase, you know, like boss techniques and stuff like that, and basically demos of boss fights. It shows you how to perfect clear each boss. You also get Maria, you know, and you can still switch over to her once you find her. But since we just started a brand new game here, well, we're not going to do that, so we don't have any of that information here at the moment. So let's go ahead and just start the game, and it's going to throw us into a quick intermission, and we have to fight death at the very beginning of the game. You don't actually have to hit death here. You just wait it out. He'll throw his scythe at you. You can go ahead and attack that, and then he'll shoot a large skull at you as well. And you actually can't skip through this part right here, so we go ahead and just watch it play out. So once you start a game, this game does autosave, and you can actually go ahead and quit the game halfway through, and then you can actually start a fresh game on the same file, you know, from anywhere that you've already been. So it's actually kind of a neat feature. So what we're going to do here is just sit here, wait for him to shoot his skull, and we're going to go ahead and just attack the skull. So if you've never played a Castlevania game before, you basically whip and you jump. What's interesting about this game is that you can actually hold down the whip button and actually walk backwards, so it's actually kind of a neat feature. You can do that in all the Dracula X games, I think including the Super Nintendo one. I believe you can do it in that. So yeah, pretty basic stuff. If you double tap jump, you will actually do a backflip, and you'll actually see me using that a little bit over the course of the playthrough. What's nice about the backflip is that you do actually gain some extra height, so you can actually, you know, sort of cause some shortcuts or a little tiny little sequence breaks. That's kind of neat. And this is our axe. If you want to use your sub-weapons, just like in the other Castlevania games, or most of the other Castlevania games, you press up and attack. And here's a little intermission right here as well. That's Annette, that's your girlfriend, and she gets kidnapped by Dracula's minions, and so we have to save her. She's actually the 3rd maiden that we'll be saving. And what's interesting about this version of the game is that they actually sort of throw you for a loop at Dracula's castle. So in the PC Engine Duo version of the game, you just get a key and you unlock her, and you rescue her, and that's pretty much it. But in this one, that same door that's in the original Rondo is actually it's a decoy, and so you can actually end up unlocking the wrong door and then lose your ability to get a net. You'll have to restart the game. So Rondo of Blood also has various alternate pathways. This is one of them right here. We don't want to go there. We have to go this way to the right if we want to get onto the correct route to get our first Maiden, which is going to be Terra, I believe. I think it's Terra, and I think it's Iris, and then it's Annette is last, who just got kidnapped there. So yeah, it should be a pretty smooth, early couple stages for the most part. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm not the most consistent at this game. Like you saw there, I just took a hit. Almost took another hit as well. But yeah, we'll just kind of see how it goes. I'm not really too worried about taking damage, because these, the first couple bosses in particular are actually, well, I don't know. The second boss is actually kind of tricky, but this first boss here is just a piece of cake. And, the bats in this game also are very inconsistent for me. In other Castlevania games, the bats have a very specific kind of like wavy pattern when they go up and then down, and then they just weave upwards and downwards. And in this game, they don't seem to have the same kind of weaving pattern that they do in other Castlevanias. And so this is our first boss here, and we're just gonna pummel him with axes. And since our hearts are actually over 20 and 30, we can actually throw multiple axes back to back. Although you don't want to throw them too fast in this game because they might not all do damage. If you attack too quickly, your axes might not actually do some damage. So you do want to space them out a tiny bit to maximize your damage. But yeah, how it works is if your hearts are in the 20-something range, 20 to 30 range, you can actually throw 2 axes back to back. If your hearts are 30 and above, you can you can throw 3 of them back to back. So in previous Castlevania games, you would get these things called double shots and triple shots. They were power-ups that allowed you to throw multiple projectiles back to back. But in this game, the double and triple shot functionality is just sort of baked in, depending on how many hearts you have. And one thing that is nice about this game is that your hearts don't reset after each level. Also, if you haven't noticed it yet, if you pick up sub-weapons, your old sub-weapon will actually drop on the ground. So you don't have to worry about risking, or you don't have to worry as much about accidentally picking up sub-weapons that you don't want in this game. Now, it can be a little crappy when you're right next to a pit and you pick up a weapon and then your old weapon falls into said pit, and so you basically lost it. But that doesn't really happen all that often in this game, so it's not really something you have to worry about too much. And here's an Axe Armor Knight. This is going to be the only one we see in the entire game. If you play different routes, you'll see them a lot more often, but on this particular route, that's the only one we fight in this entire playthrough. Let's go ahead and skip through that. Taking some damage here, but it's not really a big deal. I think we'll be able to get to where we need to go just fine. So there is a very particular route I'm going to take here. We have to actually end up down below where the stream of water is, so in the basement. And that sort of recreates the original Castlevania, waterway part in Dracula's castle, where mermen constantly pop up, and you've also got the peeping eyes, the floating eyeballs down there as well. And so we're going to go through this door here. That actually kills everything on screen, but there was nothing on screen to kill, so it didn't really do us any good. If you're trying to rescue Maria, what you want to do is actually get a key here, and then try to make it all the way to the end. But we're not going to touch that key, and we're not going to go down that pit either. And what we're going to do is actually fall down this one. This is the third one. So this actually makes this part a lot safer to deal with. Let's go ahead and use my item crash as well. So the item crash is really cool. It uses up a lot of hearts, but it also does a lot of damage too. And it makes this part much more doable. So this part's actually one of the more dangerous areas in the game because of the mermen. The mermen are just completely random. You can make a jump and end up landing on one as it pops up. So that right there is a sound item. You can actually unlock sound test in this game by picking up those records. And so you'll actually see me grab a couple of those over the course of the playthrough as well. So if you're kind of curious where some of those are, I will show those off. I'm going to go ahead and actually keep my axe. The axe, to me, is the best sub-weapon in the game. The boomerang right there, or the cross, is also really good, but the axe just seems to be the best all-arounder that you can use in this game. There is also the book, which is fairly powerful, but it's a little more difficult to use. And it's also a lot of times in special locations because it is so powerful. But again, it is a little more difficult to use, so I generally prefer to just use the axe here. And I'm just gonna keep distance with this guy because he is a little dangerous. He'll spit out fire just like that, and then he'll also try to swing his arm at you. What you'll also find in this game is that the hit detection isn't the best compared to a traditional 2D Castlevania that's just all sprite driven. So you will find yourself getting hit even though there's a big discernible gap between you and the projectile or the enemy's attack, whatever it is. So you do have to be careful about that in this game. We're going to walk right under just like that. And he's probably going to come back with the same kind of attack. And so let's get ready and oops, wrong way. My PSP's D-pad is a little twitchy, and so I'll oftentimes accidentally move in the wrong direction or throw an axe in the wrong direction. I don't know if it's just my PSP 3000's D-pad here that's an issue, but I don't remember having that problem on older, PSP systems. I've had multiple PSPs now over the years, but my 3000 seems to be very fickle with its D-pad. So, yeah. So sometimes I'll end up attacking in the wrong direction, and if I try to play shoot 'em ups on my PSP or games that really rely on 8-way movement, I do struggle a little bit on this particular system. And so I'm going to actually just jump like this and just try to attack this guy a lot. That's kind of the goal with every boss in the game. Yeah, notice I'm just backflipping here. I'm just taking my time. If you get right in front of this guy, he can run you over and then sort of get you into. He can, yeah, just like that. He can sort of get you pinned. You'll end up taking 2 hits guaranteed, which is kind of a bummer. Let's go ahead and just attack him like this, and that's it. So not perfect, but we still did it. It's fine. And what I like to do sometimes when I play this game is get some backflips going as it drops. Ooh, I messed up. It's okay. You get some funny poses if you backflip into the orb. And so that's it's something that's always fun to do in a Castlevania game. It's just to, like, jump into the orb as it comes down and see all the various poses you can do. I do it in Bloodlines. I do it in Castlevania 4, and I do it in the Dracula X games. It's always fun. Sometimes you'll get Richter like freeze framed upside down in the middle of the air. It's pretty funny. So good times. So what I'm going to do up here is attack that and then push this gravestone over. And we're going to actually fall down and get ourselves an extra life. So let's go ahead and just drop down here. Just a bunch of weapons on the left-hand side I don't really need, but I do want these hearts and that extra life. And we're going to fight a mini-boss here. Let's see if we can kill this guy in one hit. Sometimes you can kill him in one hit with the axe. So just like that, boom, nice, one hit. Last time I tried coming here in my practice run, I actually did not kill him in one hit, which was kind of a shame, but glad I was able to show that off in the Let's Play. So we're going to come up here. There's another music item here, I believe. Oh no, that's a pot roast. Never mind. You can also just fall straight down like that. So again, the money bags, if you pick those up, if you hit start, if you look in the top left portion of the screen, you'll notice that there's a credit item up there. That increases as you pick up money bags, and you can unlock your boss techniques there. So if you want to get our first maiden, we have to come down here. You cannot get down here if you go through that door up top, so we have to go this way. And this is our first maiden, so this should be Terra. I think that's her name. And we're going to go ahead and just skip through it, like I said. And I do have actually Rondo, or I should say Dracula X here, set to Japanese, so all the voice acting in this game will be in Japanese. I do think it is a little more appealing than the North American English dub. I believe there's an English dub on this. I haven't heard it in so long, and he slipped down there. I'm not going to worry about him. We'll just leave him pinned down there. And I just attacked backwards by accident. Like I said, my D-pad is very fickle, so that will actually happen quite a few times over the course of this playthrough, I'm sure. Here's another one of these guys. We're just going to walk straight back. Whoa, okay, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and just use an item crash. I was not expecting him to follow us back. I think what happened is, since I didn't kill him, I think he actually just respawned. I think that's actually what happened. And here's the book. We're going to actually forfeit the axe for a little bit. We're going to go ahead and use the book because it's actually really good in this boss fight. It just does a ton of damage to him. Also, by rescuing Terra there, what we can do now is bust open, these red skeleton pillars. And that's going to be mandatory in Dracula's castle at the end. And these guys will actually shoot projectiles as well. They can be fairly dangerous. And we just fell down there. Not a big deal. We can just come right back up. Try to kill this guy real fast. And walk on him. You can actually walk on these guys without taking damage. But yeah, we want to hit all of these chains. And it makes these spiked balls fall down. So we can actually just fall down like that. And then fall down like this. And then we will actually land in that guaranteed. I don't think there's any way to avoid that. I haven't figured out a way to avoid it. So before a lot of boss fights in this game, you have these little areas that will give you some items, and there's a little rat there. You can kill him. He drops various items. Let's see if we can get that heart. Can we get it? Okay, we got it. Good. And let's go ahead and attack this wall for another pot roast. That gives us health back. And then that's it. We're going to fall down and kill this guy in probably just a couple shots. I find that this boss is actually easier in this version of the game. If you play the original Rondo, he seems to be a lot more aggressive. And just throw the book on him like that. And that will probably do it. That did it. Alright, so what he does now is he flies around like this. And then he's going to try to land right on top of us. And so what we're going to do is just walk to the right. And we'll do it in style. We'll backstep. Because Richter is a boss like that. You can even jump backwards. If you're holding down the attack button and moving backwards, you'll actually jump backwards too. It's pretty neat. Yeah, so no damage bonuses on boss fights give you extra lives as well. I always forget about that. So my last run, I was at the end of the game, and I had died like 4 or 5 times on my playthrough, but I still had 7 lives. Like right now, we actually have 6 lives. Because we've gotten some no damage bonuses. We've also collected an extra life or 2 in the game as well. So I always like to use the dagger here, or the knives, because you can actually pick off these guys from a distance. Some of these birds and some of these frogs. So like there's a frog up there, just use the knife from a distance. There's another one, or I should say a bird. And there should be another one up here as well. Yep, there he is. And another bird. Yeah, so the knife is actually placed very conveniently there, and that's pretty much the only time on this run that I will use the knife. I pretty much won't use the knife at any other point. Alright, so we have to jump across here. It's a very, very tight jump. You can also, I think, sit on one of those pieces of wood, and you can actually go down their waterfall for a different route as well. But we're not going to take that route. And we're going to switch right back to the axe. The axe, again, is my favorite sub-weapon in the game. It's got good range, it goes vertically as well, which is just insanely useful. Why did I do that? That was actually dumb. So I'm gonna have to kill myself. Actually, let's come back over and see if this guy respawns. So I wasn't paying attention there, and because I wasn't paying attention, I actually ended up killing the frog that I needed. Let's see if he comes back. I don't think he's gonna come back. Enemies don't typically respawn in this game unless you die. Yeah, he's not coming back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually, this is going to be tricky. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to handle this. This is not something I was expecting to do in this playthrough. Like, I do kind of want to fall down there, but I feel like I'm going to end up dying. I don't know, let's try it. Yeah, that just kills me. That's what I want. Assuming it spawns me up top. Good. This is exactly what I want. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't planning on messing up like that, but that's okay. Now you guys can actually see how a run like this can go wrong if you're not paying attention. So let's go ahead and just kill these guys with my whip, and kill him with my whip as well. And then this guy, we just want to let him jump, and then jump, and then go under him like that. And he's just going to follow us. So he's a curious little frog. Come on. So this is actually done a little bit differently than it is in Rondo. In Rondo, there's a frog statue, and you just attack the statue. I believe that's how it works in Rondo. But in this game, you have to bait the frog to the right, and then he lands on that and opens up a new passage. So, and the pathway just opened up right here, and we fall down just like so. And we come on over to the left. There's going to be a stairwell down here that'll take us down below. If you've taken a couple hits by this point, there's also going to be a pot roast in a wall. And once we rescue the Maiden, we can also get ourselves another sound test item. So there's the pot roast, And I'm going to go ahead and just keep the axe, and there's going to be an extra life right here as well. So boom, another extra life. So we actually just got that life back. Now you don't want to hit that candle down there. If you do hit the candle, you're going to go into this room. Oops. You're going to go into this room, and you're going to come back out, and that candle's going to be gone. So you're not going to be able to get that sound test item. Let's go ahead and skip through that again. So we got Iris's Charm, which allows us to break through these sort of crystal blocks. And there we go. So sound item. So these underground areas with the water and the mermen, they're always the trickiest parts of the game because, again, the mermen, they come up in high numbers, so you often see several of them on screen at once. They can also hit you into a pit, and it's just, you know, very tricky to deal with. So they're definitely the most dangerous areas in this game. Some of the most dangerous areas in this game. Alright, so this is going to lead us up to the boss fight. Nothing too crazy here. You got this little skeleton in the background. He likes to pop out and then lunge at you, just like so. So you just turn around and just whip him in the face, just like so. And we've also got some birds and hunchbacks. And so with the axe here, I'm going to try to just attack them. Hopefully get some 2-for-1 deals with the axe. And we're going to turn around and just throw an axe back at that guy as well. One thing I really like about Rondo is you can actually turn around mid-air, and you'll see me using that quite a bit over the course of the rest of the playthrough. Especially on the lead-up to Dracula's castle, where we have to go across this crumbling bridge, and bats are constantly flying in behind us. Alright, so I forgot what this guy's name is. I think it's Dullahan or something like that. So we're going to actually fight him. He's actually one of the more tricky boss fights in the game, but fortunately we're able to get ourselves some health there. I'm going to actually switch over to the holy water right now because it's actually pretty useful in this fight. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but by standing up on this this pillar up here, it actually does, you know, it's easy to hit him. So I'm going to just come over here like this, try to whip him up top, and then just use holy water, just like so. And I can also use the item crash if I want to do a little more damage. And there's also a book in the middle of the playfield there. Again, the book actually does a lot of damage, but it's also, again, very tricky to use. I'm going to backflip over this guy, just like so. And ooh, I was going to say try to do it again, but I wasn't able to. Alright, not a good situation to be in. He's actually got me cornered right here, which is really odd. He doesn't ever get this close, so we're going to try to switch sides here, which is very difficult to do, unfortunately. And he's going to lunge just like so. And do a backflip like that, and then backflip again. He's going to do that ice attack, try to use our holy water some more, do some tiny damage. And we're going to sit under here so these blocks don't hurt us. Alright, very good. One more hit would have killed us, so I'm glad I got that on my first try. Yeah, that was very interesting. He's never gotten that close to me before, so, you know, if that happens, it's good to try to get yourself over to the other side. Look at that nice pose, man. I tried attacking during my backflip, which you can do, and ended up getting a really nice mid-air pose, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, he's one of the trickiest boss fights in not just this version of the game, but also the original Rondo, and he's also in Dracula X for Super Nintendo. Although I think in the SNES version, he's a little bit easier. His attacks are a little more predictable, I guess you could say, in that version. He doesn't seem to do as many attacks. At least I don't think he does. I don't remember ever struggling with him anyway in that version of the game. I think the issue with that version of the game is if you're going to fight him, you usually have the key in hand, and the key isn't really the best thing in the game, in that game, because it doesn't really do much damage to enemies if you use it. There is a trick in that game, though, where you can actually use the item crash to do a little bit of damage, but you can't do that on Dullahan himself. Alright, so what I'm going to do is actually go up top here. There's also a secret right here, so we can bust that open. There's going to be a sound item as well. And we just backflip our way up like so. Unfortunately, there's not much over here. It's just a single heart. Just like that, so. And there's going to be a secret here, and what's good about this secret is it lets you skip this mini boss up to the right. We actually end up fighting a bunch of swords and axes, you know, just floating in the air, so they're a little tricky to deal with. We're going to bust this open, get ourselves some health. You notice that I can't jump back up? That's what the backflip is for. Again, you can get a little bit of extra air with the backflip. And we're just going to push this over like so. And then just whack this over and over for an extra life. How many lives do we have? We're gonna have 8 lives now, that's crazy. And we're gonna jump and attack this guy. They always fire pretty much, you know, on the same rhythm every time you play this. So boom, just like that, just jump and attack. There's gonna be a big heart right there. And since we rescued Tara, we could bust open that for another sound item. So the soundtrack in this game is actually really good. I'm really glad that they included a sound test menu in this game. Granted, you do have to, you know, find the sound items, but they do still have a sound test in here, which is nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my cross right here as well, just like so. Get some extra hits on those guys. And this part could be pretty tricky. This guy can actually kill you instantly, so I'm gonna try to keep distance here. In my practice run, I actually tied to this thing twice, which was crazy. That is something that doesn't happen very often when I play this game. But you just don't want him to get very close to you. And there we go, we killed him. He's not really hard to deal with, but it's one of those things where, like, you feel really stupid when you get caught by it. It's just really embarrassing to get caught by it. And again, I got caught by it twice in my practice sessions. Alright, so what I'm going to do is grab this axe. And this is going to help us out a lot here, because we've got these flying fleamen on these birds, which are very annoying to deal with. So we're just going to go ahead and just use that axe as they come down. And I'm going to try to keep distance with these guys. They've got long range. And just be aggressive with our whip. Here we go. No hits yet, which is good. Ideally, we don't want to take any damage here, because we need all the health we can get for the boss fight, which is death. Go ahead and use that, and then, ooh, took a hit. The reason I took a hit is I was trying to use my axe, but because I'm under 20 hearts, I couldn't use another axe until the other one went off the screen. And because the one wasn't fully off the screen yet, I ended up taking a hit, unfortunately. So, but I think we've got enough health here to be fine at the Grim Reaper, or Death. In the original Castlevania, he's actually known as the Grim Reaper. That's what it shows him as in the instruction manual. But in pretty much every other Castlevania game, he was known as Death. So, especially in these games, Rondo and Symphony of the Night. So, I still call him the Grim Reaper sometimes, because again, that's what his original name was in the very first Castlevania. Alright, so we're above 22 hearts. We're going to use the axe on the first form here. Death does have 2 phases. They're actually both not too bad to deal with, as long as you play carefully. But that's kind of the rule of Castlevania. Play careful, and you'll probably be fine. For the most part. I mean, some of the Castlevania bosses, like in the very original Castlevania, can be very tricky to deal with. So even if you are just super careful, you might still get pinned in a corner or something like that and just get wrecked by the boss. Like Death in the first Castlevania. If you try to beat Death, say whip only in the first Castlevania, it's very, very challenging to do consistently. But again, I'm just taking my time here, just letting him float back on the screen. Trying to time my axe usage to where it eradicates some of these sickles. Alright, so this phase is kind of interesting. You know, it's a phase that gives a lot of people trouble, but it's actually pretty simple as well, as long as you play carefully and really try to follow his pattern. So what I do there in his transformation is I go to one side of this mast and I just walk to the other side, and those skulls will avoid you. So he's going to fall down like so, and he's probably going to do an attack. Let's just wait for him to attack. You don't want to use your sub-weapons on this form either, because what happens is he'll do a special attack that will just annihilate you. So you just wait for him to jump back like so. When he does 2 attacks like that, you can go ahead and just move in and then attack him once, just like so, and then he does this dive attack. Just wait for him to attack twice. And death here is actually one of these instances where the hitboxes are really bad. Like, even if his sickle doesn't hit you, or his scythe doesn't hit you, like visually, it'll still actually register a hit and do damage to you. It's kind of frustrating, so you just have to play really safe on this fight. That is the key here. Just play really, really safe in this fight. There we go. Richter's flying upside down. The number 5 is wrapped right around his head. Okay, it's gone now. Alright, so now we're going to do a boss rush here. We're going to fight a bunch of different mini-bosses, and then we're going to fight Shaft. So this could be pretty tricky. I'm trying to think what I want to do here. Let's go ahead and stick with the axe on this fight. So we're going to come up here, get a couple hearts, get another sound item here. If you've already gotten a sound item and you die, and you go and try to pick it up again, it'll usually be a money bag. So we got a couple weapons up here. That's going to be the dagger. And if you want the book, you can come over here to the right and open up this wall to get the book. I'm not going to use the book because I'd rather go into the next stage with my axe. So I'm not just thinking of this boss fight, but I'm also thinking of future stages. So these are a couple weapons as well that I don't want. So we're going to go ahead and just stick with the axe here. Alright, so first up on the menu is the vampire bat. Just like so, and since we have our axe, we can go ahead and just use it and do a lot of damage to him, just like in the very first Castlevania. So this is an interesting take on basically Castlevania 1's first boss. Just like so. He's vastly more animated in this game, which is really cool. Let's go ahead and grab all these hearts. These will help us on the rest of the boss fight. So we took one hit already, but after the third boss here, we'll actually get another pot roast. So this is Medusa. What we want to do is stay relatively close here. She'll always do a projectile first, then she will jump up and try to hit you with her tail. She also has a tendency of jumping across the screen, and if she does that, oops, I timed my attack way too slow. When she jumps across the screen, you're pretty much guaranteed to take damage if you try to walk under her. So what you want to do is actually stay back here. That way, if she jumps forward, we can go in the opposite direction instead of trying to go underneath her. If you go underneath her, you're guaranteed to take damage. And so this is the mummy. You can avoid his first attack here by just simply ducking. And I'm going to use my axe from a distance, just like so. Look at how good the axe is in this game. It just goes very far, and it just does really good damage too. So we're going to jump up. You can actually get crushed by these things on the far left wall. And this is Frankenstein's monster. So we're going to jump back. He likes to do this punch attack just like so. And a lot of times he'll also jump up. But with these falling blocks, you can actually get rid of them with the axe. So let's see if we can do this without taking any hits. So that lightning attack is a little tricky. You can actually just jump in the opposite direction and you'll avoid it. Oops, I took a hit. Not good. Whenever he runs at you like that, he's going to do his punch attack. Okay, good. Got it. And now we're going to fight Shaft himself. Shaft is pretty tricky. He throws these orbs around, and they use different elements, either lightning, or fire, or whatnot. So let's go ahead and just get close in to him. So with the fire ones, I like to throw my axe at them, and it sort of bounces them away. Oops, and I ran right into it. Now, you don't have many invincibility frames in Dracula X, unfortunately, so it can actually be easy to take multiple hits back to back. And there we go. Nice. First try. Ooh. I thought they were going to do a second attack. Thankfully, because he died, they only did one attack. If they hit me again, I would have died, guaranteed, so... But yeah, good fight overall. You know, we did all the forms in one go. Oh, look at that! He was doing the wind-up on his whip attack, and look at that pose. That's crazy. So yeah, that was pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. It's very easy to die at the Shaft fight because it is a boss rush. You've got to do, you know, what, 5 bosses back to back, and so getting it right on your first try can be tricky. So, but now we're in the stage 7 with my axe. Sometimes it's actually better to have the boomerang here, but the axe will kill these big bats in one hit. So if we can get this timed just right, we'll actually be able to hopefully annihilate these guys without too much issue, and that's not good. Oh, that's really not good. Backflip, and we failed. See, that was really awful. I killed him, but as he fell, he was still active and could still do damage to me, so I still took a hit. Normally when you kill things in this game, you can just walk right through them. Once they're dead, you're pretty much impervious to them, but not in this game. So again, if we can use our axe like so, we'll actually kill these guys in one hit. And this bridge seems to be fairly random. Notice that there wasn't a big bat waiting for us this time. Sometimes there are 2, sometimes there are 3, sometimes like this, there's only 1. And that's not good either. Can we backflip? Okay, we did. This is actually one of the hardest parts in the game right here as well. It's very easy to take damage, it's very easy to get knocked to your death, but fortunately it only took us 1 try. So, or 2 tries, I mean. Sorry, 1 death is what I should have said. Let's go ahead and bust this open for a big heart. And so, we're going to actually find ourselves a key here, and this is the key that we need to unlock Annette, who's going to be our last maiden here. The one that got kidnapped in the very beginning of the game. And you got these water ghosts here, they're a little tricky to deal with. So first we have to come over here, and this is why you need the other 2 maidens as well. Because both of the switches that you need to hit on this, this section are blocked by those walls that you can only chop down by having the abilities given to you by the previous maidens. I am actually really disappointed though that it's actually not possible to get Maria on this run. I really wanted to be able to do that, but you know, I can't really do much about that, unfortunately. So I'm pretty sure I showed off Maria in my last Let's Play of the game a couple of years ago, so if you're interested in seeing that, I do have that on my channel. Just go to my main channel page. I've got a full Castlevania playlist housing every Castlevania video I have done on my channel, which is a lot of them. I'm a big Castlevania fan, and Castlevania is one of those things we do pretty frequently here on this channel. So this gear here, you actually have to jump on it to get it moving. I'm going to jump and kill these guys in 1 hit. And there's another sound item right here as well. So let's try to kill this guy. Some of these walls are a little fickle, so like this one you have to attack at the bottom first to start breaking apart the wall. So there's some spikes right here I want to avoid. And this is the door I was talking about on the left. We don't want to touch that. That's going to be it's going to lead us to a succubus. And when we get there, we lose our key. So you can only use these gold keys once. So we don't want to use it on the wrong door. So we have to come up here like so, jump on that gear, jump over here, and then bust through this. And then hit that switch. And then there's actually a potion right here. Looks like I ended up landing into a dagger. That was actually really close. And unfortunately, because of that, I ended up wasting the potion, so that it's possible I might take a hit falling down here, just like so. Let's go ahead and fall down. So if you've noticed in this playthrough, I can also land on stairs, and then by pressing down and jump, I can drop off of stairs as well. It's a feature I really like in this game. It was a feature that was introduced in Castlevania 4, and then carried over into games like Dracula X Rondo of Blood, and then Castlevania Bloodlines, and whatnot. It's a very, very nice feature. So let's go ahead and skip through that. So we've just rescued Annette, and this will give us the best ending as well in the game. So the credits roll, and at the end of the credits you actually see all 3 maidens that you had rescued in your playthrough, which is a nice little touch. So I'm not going to go ahead and get that out. Actually, you know what? I was going to get that book, but I don't need it. It's not a big deal. So we're going to come back here, try to jump on that successfully, thankfully, and then try to get this one too. We're just going to have to wait for it. So these gold Medusa heads, they do stone you, just like in Symphony of the Night. What some people actually forget, or sometimes just don't even know about, is that Symphony of the Night's actually a direct sequel to the original Dracula X on the PC Engine Duo. Which is why when we get to the final boss here, it's going to look fairly familiar to people that have played Symphony of the Night, but maybe not Rondo of Blood. The Symphony of the Night actually starts where Rondo leaves off. You actually fight the final boss of Rondo again in Symphony of the Night. It's a really nice touch. We're going to also get ourselves another sound item here. And I was actually talking about this on my practice session, but I think this is the final boss room from Castlevania 2. It looks a lot like it, minus these statues. But we've got this base here, which looks just like the one in Castlevania 2. And I think it's connected, because in the very start of this game, we actually go through the first town that you go through in Castlevania 2 as well. So, you know, it's in the same universe, it's on the same timeline. And I think that boss room there, or I think that room is the boss room from Castlevania 2, the final boss room, which is pretty interesting. Really like it how this game ties in old games into it. Not just this, but you know, the original Rondo of Blood. This is just a remake of that game. That great game. Which I also have multiple playthroughs of on my channel. Like I said, do a lot of Castlevania here. So, I think I actually covered Rondo of Blood last year on my channel. I did it multiple times. I think I showed off all the routes, and I wasn't paying attention there. Let's see if he runs back, and then just smack him like that with our whip. So these guys, I like to attack them a couple times, then jump back like this. They have huge range with those big swords. And there we go. They take a lot of hits, something like 7 or 8 hits at least. I'm just going to jump over here. We're going to get caught in that wall or that ceiling. That happens in almost every Castlevania game. If you jump into a ceiling like that, you can go through it, but you'll actually get stuck in it. So if you're trying to make a nice clean jump, you don't want to be jumping into walls if you can avoid it. And let's go ahead and kill him like that. And coming on over to the left here, there's going to be an extra life. And as far as health is concerned, we're doing okay. You know, I've taken a couple of hits, but there is going to be a pot roast right before the boss fight. And I'm going to kill this guy from down below. And looks like I only did 1 hit there when I threw 2 axes back to back, because the enemies do have invincibility frames. And so if you throw a projectile too quickly, one of those projectiles is not going to actually deal damage. Let's go ahead and hit that, collect this heart, just like so, or not. 3rd time's the charm. In the original Rondo of Blood, you want to attack the wall on the top left on the upper floor there, but it's kind of obfuscated by your health bar. But in this game, it's on the bottom floor. You just attack that top left portion on the bottom floor. So, interesting little change there. There are some alterations in the game like that, which is pretty interesting to see. You can also backflip onto this pendulum, and that was really good. That was the first try. Normally it takes me 2 or 3 tries to get that, but I'm glad I got that on the first try. Alright, so we're going to have to fight the ghost of Shaft now. So we killed Shaft on the previous level, but we're going to have to fight him again. And he's arguably a lot more tricky on this phase, or this form. Let's go ahead and hit that. Don't really need that. Let's go ahead and get my axe again. So the trick here to get different sub-weapons is to pick up a sub-weapon and then use it on a particular wall. So on this wall down here in the bottom left, it'll give us the boomerang. But we also have to have the axe to get it. So you'll notice that each breakable wall is only breakable with a very specific sub-weapon. So you can see the cross is required, or boomerang's required for this wall right here. Let's go ahead and get that big heart, and we're just going to go ahead and use the axe here. Yeah, so this is definitely the trickiest of, one of the trickier boss fights in the game. So Shaft likes to move from one side of the screen to the other. And what I found is that he's actually a lot more difficult if you don't have a lot of hearts. So if you die here and have to start with just, 5 or 10 hearts or whatever the default is that you start with, you can actually end up running out of ammo, which is kind of disappointing. So I also like to backflip like that, but Shaft was right behind me, so I ended up backflipping right into him, which is disappointing, but it's okay. So I like to backflip over that guy. It's a very tight backflip, by the way. So this dragon can either jump straight down at you like that, and probably do guaranteed damage if you're in the wrong spot, but he can also shoot projectiles as well. And if he shoots out his flames, you want to get to one side of the screen or the other. And there he goes. So if we sit to the right-hand side here, we won't take any hits, but we're also far away from Shaft, unfortunately. So let's see if that hits him. It did. And I think we're probably going to be good here. And he's going to dive down again and hit us. So one more hit. Got it. And then this is going to take us to Dracula. And how many lives do we have? 10 lives. Whew. So many lives here. So many lives. So we're nearing the end of the playthrough. I'm glad I got this on my first try, too. A lot of times when I do these Let's Plays, I have to record them like 4 or 5 times before I get something that's, you know, half respectable. But this is my first go. I just did a practice run on Twitch, and then I just started recording, and we just went with a brand new playthrough, and we're good. So let's see how this final boss goes. The first 2 forms aren't too bad to deal with. It's the 3rd form that is exclusive to this version of the game. There is no 3rd form in the original Rondo. And what I also want to do here is hold up and jump, and look at this. We got ourselves a secret room. So if you're trying to grind out for money in this game to unlock your, you know, your boss techniques, you can actually come here and then kill yourself over and over. And so like in Rondo, for instance, I have 10 lives right now. What I would do is I would drop down here and then go kill myself. Actually, you can't really kill yourself here. That's interesting. Okay, never mind. You can't do that in this version. That's probably why they made those stairs solid. You actually can't clip through them. So I actually messed up here. This is actually really bad. This is gonna throw me off. I actually wanted to get the cross, and I didn't get the cross. So we'll kind of see how this goes here. This is gonna be a lot trickier to deal with. So let's backflip over like that. So we're gonna take our time here. We're gonna whip him twice, and then just backflip like so. So normally what I do is I attack him twice, then I throw the boomerang. But because I wasn't paying attention, I didn't get the boomerang, we're not going to be able to do that. So, but we'll just wing it. Sometimes winging it is fine. So backflip. The reason I backflip is because Richter's base jump is just barely high enough to get over the fireballs. Alright, so phase 2. We have to hit him in the head in his beast form, just like so. And he likes to jump, just like in the original Castlevania. He's going to shoot these fireballs, and it's going to be very tricky to dodge those cornered in the wall like this. His attacks are fairly randomized, so, you know, you could just get cornered like that and not really have much that you could do about. Let's just go ahead and walk under him again, like so. He's going to turn around, and he's probably going to do his big purple blast attack right now. Yep, so we just want to duck, just like so. Very easy to avoid. And we'll see how the 3rd phase goes without my boomerang that I forgot to pick up. But what's actually good about having the axe right now is I'll be able to hit him when he's doing his blood rain attack, which is usually the first attack he does. So we want to get right underneath him, just like so. Yeah, that's nice. I got to get a couple hits off on him, which normally I can't do with the boomerang. So, very cool. Alright, so we want to get back here. He's going to throw some bats out. But we can actually attack the bats and do a tiny bit of damage to him. And there's the wolf. So when he turns into wolf form, he goes either high or low. And on that one, he went low, fortunately. Alright, bats again, just like so. Let's go ahead and whip them as they go. Now he's going to come in with some fireballs. You're going to walk to one side of the screen or the other. He's going to do these blood attacks. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Boom, just like that. That's how you avoid those. So he always does 4 back to back. More bats. You can kind of tell what he's going to do based on where he is on the screen. And we're out of hearts, unfortunately, so I have to whip him. He's going to do these fireballs again. We're probably going to take a hit. Oh, we didn't take a hit. We took a hit by something else, unfortunately. Alright, he's going to go into bats again. Unfortunately, this is going to be really tricky to deal with without having any ammunition. So it's backflip, just like so. He's going to fly over like that. Alright, probably flames, okay. And that's it! Ooh, not it. Oh! Look at my health bar. Oh, look at my health bar. That's crazy. Whew. Well, first try. You know, the funny thing about doing practice sessions is I do practice sessions thinking to myself, alright, I'm going to do the final boss in my Let's Play just like this. And so just like this required me to get the boomerang, and I just completely flubbed that. And let's go ahead and just skip through that. We'll let the rest of it play out, but that text isn't really all that important. Or not necessarily important, but it's It's not that interesting. So yeah, the goal of this playthrough was to show you guys where to get the 3 Maidens and to show off the third and final form on Dracula. So if you guys want to see the story and stuff like that, you know, there's other dedicated videos for that type of stuff. So my focus here on my channel is mostly gameplay and techniques and stuff like that. Story's fun and all that, but for the purpose of this playthrough, we're not gonna focus on it too much. I will let the rest of the credits and whatnot roll out. I really enjoy the credits tune as well. And again, at the end of the credits, you'll see you know, basically the best ending, where you get you know, all 3 Maidens are by your side at the end. So it's very nice. So, but yeah, that is Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles, the true final boss. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I appreciate people pointing it out to me in my last Dracula X Chronicles Let's Play many years ago. I had no idea there was a third form on Dracula until people pointed it out, and so, and you know, I actually meant to do this Let's Play sometime last year. I actually learned how to get the 3 Maidens in one playthrough last year, but just never got around to recording it, and then I kind of forgot, so I had to relearn it over these last few weeks to do this Let's Play. But I'm glad I finally done it, so it's another one knocked off my list of, you know, pretty much everything I can possibly do with Castlevania on my channel. So yeah, so just another one knocked off the list. Thanks again, everyone that you know, helped me out with that, or nudged me in the right direction you know, to do this. So hope you guys enjoyed that. If you've never played this game before, it's really an excellent game. It's definitely one of the big reasons to own a PlayStation Portable. The PSP is a great platform. It's a great handheld system, and with the component cables or composite cables, you can run it into your TV or capture card like I'm doing here, and you know, use it like it's a game console. And through an upscaler like the FrameMeister, you can even zoom it in and have it fill your entire screen, which is what we're doing here. So, but yeah, very great game. It's basically Rondo of Blood, but you know, it's just remade. So 3D graphics, you know, good gameplay, great remix soundtrack. And the nice bonus to this game, if you haven't checked it out, is that you can unlock a reworked version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And so if you played Castlevania Requiem, I think is what it's called, I can't remember if that's what it's called, but it's on PlayStation 4. It comes with the original Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. And that version of Symphony of the Night is actually this PSP version with different voice acting and stuff like that. So you get Symphony of the Night in here. You also unlock the original Rondo of Blood. So you can play the original PC Engine version of the game on the PSP, and it's a very good conversion as well. So yeah, it's definitely a must-buy for your PSP, or if you don't have a PSP, you know, this is definitely one of the reasons to get one. So if you're ever curious about the system, this is a really good pick to think about picking up. So yeah, really fantastic game. It was nice revisiting it. It's been you know, probably about a year since I last fired it up, so it was really good, you know, sticking with it and going back to it for this playthrough here. So, but yeah, just like the original Rondo, this does have so many alternate pathways. There's a lot of replay value in this game too, along with the unlockables. It's just a really fantastic package. So highly recommended. Some people are a little iffy on the remake itself because, you know, 2.5D graphics instead of just traditional hand-drawn 2D stuff. But I still think it's really cool. They did a really good job with the 3D remake, and yeah, they just did a really nice job with it. So, and you get the original Rondo with it. You can't beat that. You really can't. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps things up here, guys. As of doing this video, it's about halfway through October, and you can expect more horror-themed playthroughs over the rest of this month. More Castlevania streams as well. So if you're new to this channel, I do Castlevania stuff quite frequently, and I also do live streams on a weekly basis. And one of these weekly streams here coming up, we'll probably do some more Castlevania, like Nocturne in the Moonlight on Saturn, Dracula X Nocturne in the Moonlight, which is the Saturn's version of Symphony of the Night, the sequel to the original Rondo. So, but yeah, we'll probably do that soon as well. And there we go. So we've got Richter and, you know, all of our maidens there, which is a nice way to end the game after that pretty sweet credits roll. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. I've got a lot of Let's Plays on here and many more to come. For everyone already subbed, thank you for your continued support. I really appreciate it. And until the next one, take it easy.